Hello, welcome to the Hugh Borg podcast for the 26th day of March, the 27th day of this war that is going on for a vastly longer amount of time than anybody who started it ever thought it would. Again, that goes back to everybody's traditional motive. The war will be over by Christmas. Well, this one might take a hell of a long time. Okay. My podcast, I was on Eager Beaver this morning and it I got to work on my technology system here in order to get my system up here so I can actually do this without losing bandwidth. That being said, just a very quick sit rep on where we are right now, what is happening, what to look for the next 48 72 hours. United States is now in the preparation phase for launching an invasion and raids, basically, on several sites within Iran and Iranian territory. Gulf Islands are going to be assaulted, perhaps, though there might be a strategic deception there. We won't know until it happens, but it looks very likely that that's what they're trying to do. 82nd Airborne, which is a division of paratroopers, is inbound to the theater, and elements will be involved in this. I don't think they're going to be hitting the islands in the Gulf. I think they're probably going to be further inland and doing things like security on known Iranian nuclear sites, while they've got EOD, explosive ordnance demolition experts, going in to deal with the materials inside. This is not going to end well. The United States does not have enough troops for this. In 1945, Iwo Jima, the death toll was horrendous. It's probably one of the most lethally dangerous assaults that the United States ever made in the Second World War. 16,000 casualties, I believe, but we're also talking from a force of over 100,000 people. The United States does not have the critical mass of people and equipment in theater in order to do and meet the objectives and of the things that they want to do. So we're going to see a bullshit attempt to basically duct tape together a frigging D-Day by people who do not even understand who they are fighting, or have any understanding of the geography, or have any understanding of the cultures, or any understanding of the actual tactical situation. Iran has been planning this for a very long time. In war, I think it's safe to say that geography always dictates how battles roll out. In order to take a country's area, you need to have certain things in place first. We saw that in the original back in '91, the war in the Gulf with Desert Storm, where the Americans, because they were at that time still a lot of troops and kit and everything in theater in Europe, and they had a lot of allies, were able to pull it together and build the strike force to go into Iraq. Iraq is not Iran. Iran is a functionally different problem, and they have no idea how to deal with this. Where before, perhaps in January, maybe Iranian citizens were looking at regime change, they're certainly not looking at it now. I will cite air power in the 20th and 21st century. There's never been, and including the missile or the nuclear bombs dropped on Japan, there's never been a situation in human history where air power all by itself has been able to secure a regime change in a positive direction. All you can do with a military force is break things. That's their job. They're very good at it. And the American forces, from basically Brigadier General on down, are very good at these sort of things. They understand their job and they've got the kit and they know what they're doing. The problem is they're being put into a mission where they don't have the people, they don't have the space, they don't have the time, they don't have the training, they don't have the ramp-up stage, and they have no allies in order to do what they want to do. Israel is fighting a functionally different war from the United States. Israel is looking out for, number one, their war or their assault where they're gazifying southern Lebanon is part of this. They want chaos around them so that they can be protected. The United States got bought into this because they got stupid people in charge. And dear Christ in heaven, the amount of stupid that is coming out of the United States right now is spectacular. The lack of basic understanding of your enemy. I mean, most of you have probably read something like Sun Tzu for business. You have to know what the enemy is and what their capabilities are and what their needs are if you're going to ever even try to fight them. And once you drop bombs and once you start into a warfare project like this, you lose control of the ability to manage the narrative. Events will dictate the entire operation that's going forward. Iran has been playing this for a very long time. They know exactly what the Americans are doing. And we can be very honest that the Americans are not being anything less than completely predictable about what they are trying to do. So what are we going to see over the next 48 to 72 hours? Kirk Island in the northern Persian Gulf will be taken probably by airborne zipline troops out of Ospreys and helicopters to go in out of Kuwait and Iraq, as well as bases in northern Saudi Arabia. They will be able to take it. These guys are good. Like the American military, they're as professional as professional gets. They can take an objective. They know how to hold an objective. The problem is that they're being put into a position where the objective has been wired for sound for about 3 decades. Iran knows they're coming. It's well within range of the first-person viewer, optical fiber cable guided drones that the Iranians have. So once you take the island, and I think the Iranians will let them take the island, it's going to come down to the Iranians letting them in, and then they're going to hit them with everything they have. The Ospreys, the VTOL aircraft, the helicopters do not have the airlift capability, and assuming, and I will include this, like C-17, C-130s, like the heavy air transport aircraft, assuming they get the air base and the airstrip up and running, they still will not be able to maintain a presence in that island for very long before they just are merely meat on the table to be taken out. If America goes into, and their plan that I saw this morning, which terrified me, was they want to create a massive, huge buffer zone around the Strait of Hormuz in the mountains with maybe 5,000 troops in a country of 90-odd million people way inland. This is going to make Gallipoli look like a birthday party. There's not going to be a lot of, there will be no success. And this is going to get very, very bad very, very fast. Things to watch for this week is the split between the United States and Israel, because they've got different war aims. So the United States is doing a completely different war than Israel is. Iran knows this, and they're going to exploit this, just as they are by driving wedges using their strategic power against various Gulf states in order to drive them away from the United States and Israel. The region is split essentially ethnically on Sunni and Shia lines. Iran is going to be in the driver's seat on this. In any combat operation that anybody ever does, you usually plan, if you're facing a prepared enemy, you need at least 3-to-1 tactical advantage over the defending forces, because defense is much easier and simpler to manage than an offensive assault, especially if you add the extra complexities of things like airdrops and supplying by air and things like that. The Americans simply do not have enough combat power in theater, nor can they ever develop that. Even if we fast forward this to like about 12 months from now and they get drafts up and running and they get 100,000 soldiers, that's still not going to be enough gravity in order to be able to win this. There is no win for this. The United States and Israel have already lost this war. The bases in the Gulf region that the United States are maintaining have been absolutely hammered. We're also seeing that Israel is doing a tremendously ruthless job of limiting any information that comes out about damage in Israel itself. That's because they're losing. If you're in a war, the PR is a big game, as we're seeing, and the Iranians are doing a pretty good trolling game with the Lego videos. But what it means from an Israeli perspective, or from the losing side perspective, they are trying to hide the fact that they're getting thumped really, really hard. Whether the Israeli people are still on board with the government or not is not a question I'm going to address right now. I don't know enough about the Israeli political system to understand exactly how that's going to go. All I can tell you is that if Iran is able to do what it has already demonstrated it can do with its hypersonic kill vehicles, which are defeating David Sling and defeating the Iron Dome, because those were designed for ballistic threats, not maneuvering threats, as well as the drones, which was never designed for. Israel is in a world of hurt and is looking at desperate last-ditch defenses if the United States pull out. If the United States get their nose bloodied, which they're about to be, with an assault into Iran, and they say, screw this, we're going to bug out like we did back in I don't know, Afghanistan or Vietnam, they can do that. The trap is, though, because Israel is going to lose if that happens, Israel will go down desperate. They will panic, and they will probably go nuclear in order to try to turn the tables and bring people back to the bargaining table so that they can actually talk their way out of it. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, and I think that we're a little bit less than 60-40 with respect to nukes being used. I don't think the United States is going to use a nuke first, unless in one of these mountain complexes that they go into in the heart of Iran as a raid in order to take out the nuclear facilities. They set off a tactical nuke under a mountain in order to drop the entire structure down on top of the base. That is a possibility. It won't be radiation, but that's still using a nuke and breaking the problem that we've had since 1945. It's going to get really bad. And economically speaking, we haven't even seen the real shock yet from oil and natural gas. What we've seen to date is natural gas is jacking up in price because a fifth of the global supply has just disappeared, which is going to have massive add-on effects with respect to farming and the high-tech industries that rely on natural gas for their production, not to mention heating homes around the world. That's going to be a major problem. The United States has to figure out how they can keep Israel safe while they pull themselves out of this morass. I don't know if that's possible at this point. Like we're looking at we're essentially, what you're watching right now in live time is the fall of the American empire. There is no way back from this. There are no good ends about this for the United States. It's going to get very spicy next week. So keep your eyes open. Watch what Israel says and does. Watch the United States. Well, it's hard to watch what they say and do because it's insane. But yeah. Anyways, I was on a podcast this morning with Eager Beaver True North podcast, and it didn't work out well because my tech sucks. So I'm going to try to upgrade my game here so I can give you better and more reliable and pertinent information. But we'll see. We'll take that. We'll play it by ear. Let's hope we get a chance to do that, because after next week, who knows if we have internet or not. Anyways, you guys have yourselves a great day. Don't panic about this right now. But keep your eyes on the prize and keep an eye out for what happens this weekend. What America's next steps are going to be is going to dictate what Iran does, because Iran has, for better or for worse, been the sane actor in the room, and they only ramp up when the Americans and the Israelis do. So they've got a game plan. We'll see what happens. Anyways, I'm going to do a recorded stream with Douglas Connors about this sometime, I think, in the next couple hours or so. Hopefully that gives you a bit more data and info. I talked about on my Substack the problems with NATO, with or NORAD, and what we should do with respect to NORAD now that NATO is in the on the outs, and we have to rebuild that. But certainly Canada's position with respect to NATO is something we have to massively talk about in our country in order to figure out the best plan. Anyways, going on way too long here. So you guys have yourselves a great afternoon, and let's see what wonderful, mysterious mystery unicorn surprises await us tomorrow. Anyways, from the Borg Bunker, you have Borg out. Have yourselves a great day. Like, share, subscribe if you think what I'm doing is worth anything useful. Trying to monetize it so I can pay to buy myself a new modem so I can do this properly. But anyways, take care. Have yourselves a good day. Be kind to each other. You have Borg out.